Mute your the recommendation is muting your Facebook microphone. Oh.
Never see a watch party. Okay, I think we're live, guys.
We are.
So should we wait for a couple of seconds? Give people an opportunity to come in. Okay, let me do this watch party thing. Start a watch party. All right. All right. Y'all ready to go?
In just a second. In just a second.
Did you start it in the group?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm about to. All right, we on. This is technology, so freaking cool, man. Okay, so I guess we record whenever we're ready to do so.
Open my Zoom up. All right, I think we're good.
To do so.
All right.
So turn y'all's mics, y'all Facebook's on mute too.
Yeah, mute your Facebook.
How do I do that?
Good to go.
So turn y'all's mics, y'all Facebook's on mute too. Somebody's still on. All right.
Nick doesn't know how to do that. Got it. All right.
So, welcome to Fresh Tech Tipz. I am Derrell, CEO of Fresh Tech Solutionz. I have a couple of my business partners here with me.
I'm Nicholas Mbezwe Daniel, founder of Aegis Project Management.
And I'm Dr. Doug Franklin, co-founder and CEO of Deck Launch LLC. How y'all doing today?
And today, your virtual Fresh Tech Tip topic is coronavirus impact on entrepreneurs.
We're doing fine. He just completely did not answer that question at all. We're doing okay. How are you doing?
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, it's been good to see my team virtually. You know, it's been a rough little week so far, but I think we're pushing through. I know this coronavirus is affecting a lot of people, a lot of businesses, and a lot of entrepreneurs. It's some serious stuff going on here. It's some game changers. I'm sure there's going to be some businesses that's going to go out of business, and there's going to be some businesses that thrive. And we're trying to be on that thriving side.
Yeah, part of what I've come up on is business interruption, which is what this is, but it's on like a scale, almost apocalyptic scale. but this is what you want to always avoid for businesses, because you can never ever come back and be the same. You never come back and be the same, but most of the time you don't come back at all. And so this is like everybody's worst nightmare. And most people never would, I mean, if I told you that something like this would have happened 2 months ago, I mean, you'd have laughed at me. So this is like the worst scenario possible.
And honestly, our three companies together are, like we said, we didn't come out unscathed either. We were pretty much heading to like one of the most exciting events that we were going to have in the year that we've been working together. We were supposed to be at South by Southwest. That mushroom clouded, and it was, for us, it was, we were demoralized. We were hurt. There was a lot of hurt. Because that was a really big opportunity for us, and there's so many other businesses that are that were in basically in the midst of the new season and having the opportunity to grow, but things happen, and that's just kind of what happens with risk management. We don't normally think about what the worst that could happen is, and no one thinks a pandemic is coming. So here we are, adapting to the, working on the new normal. Like Rel said, it's weird not seeing these guys every single day in person, but we try to make up for it with the Zoom meetings and now sharing the podcast with y'all.
Definitely, man. Yeah, it's an adjustment for everybody that I think that we all need to. We're gonna have to just adjust to and make it happen. So Doc, how you doing on a personal level? How's everything going over there?
On a personal level, can't lie, I'm a little bit overwhelmed, and it's mostly just because there's just a lot of things coming down the pipeline all at the same time. And so, of course, it's virtual. It's making sure that Deck Launch has all the virtual resources, as this is part of Fresh Tech Tipz. But I've also had to find out how to pivot my classroom with my graduate students to a virtual format as quickly as possible. And then, of course, as a dad, my son is taking virtual classes for the first time right now as we speak. And just when you put all those things together, and just kind of the moving parts of trying to shift basically behaviors and timing and things of that nature, is for every once in a while it's been like, whoa, this is a lot, but really hopeful, really optimistic, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that's got me excited a little later. How are you doing, Nick?
Yeah, no, similar. I have kids as well, and trying to adjust that. As a time, it's discombobulating a little bit, because your natural order to things is displaced. Going to the office or having time. This time I have to do this, or quiet time in general is gone. So anything can be interrupted. I'm hoping nobody comes to interrupt me now. But it's just it's completely different. I'd hope, and I know we're going to talk more about how to use the time. I'd hope to, okay, you say you're going to use the time wisely. I'm going to do more of this, because now I have more time in front of my computer, so I can do more. You can take in more information. You can, you can learn more and do all those virtual things, but it doesn't actually work out like that, because that time you think you're going to be in front of the computer is actually not your time. So it's been challenging.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's been some huge adjustments on my end as well. Personally, everybody's good. The family's good. No kids, so my kids are good. But mostly for me, we got a lot of stuff going on. We have our Texas Professional Network meeting that we do every Thursday. We meet, I see these people every week, and last Thursday was our first virtual Texas Professional Network meeting, and it actually went way better than I thought it was gonna go. So I'm getting the hang of this virtual thing. So we're just learning and trying to move forward as as entrepreneurs the best way we can. So Nick, what else we got on the topics for today?
Yeah, no, I wanted us to talk more about like a larger outlook at how we're being affected. You know, we have lots of industries I have a little guy here who's bothering me, though.
Hey,
Just like right on cue. He just came out of nowhere. We've been quiet for the last hour.
perfect.
Anyways, I was looking more at a general level. So everybody, you know, we're watching the news more than we've ever watched news. I mean, I spend this whole term of the president ignoring it, but now you can't, because that's the way the information comes towards you. So I'm trying to pay attention to it, and it's everywhere. The stocks, people closing, everything is, it's just crazy. Everything has shifted. Now, I mean, whenever the markets do recover, or things start to get back to normal, we'll see that some people have actually done okay. Like some businesses have boomed as a result of this, but it's such a drop in a bucket because everything else is shut down. So the markets just they don't pay attention to that. So who cares that Zoom is probably killing it now, or virtual office spaces are killing it, or people who are selling the food stuff, they're selling a lot of stuff. Nobody cares now when there's no travel, there's no entertainment, nobody's going to movies, restaurants. I mean, what are restaurants right now? Like, so all that stuff it's all down. So it's hard to determine who's doing well and who's going to recover, or to make any kind of forecast. But that's what I wanted to talk about. What have you seen from your end? What are you paying attention to as going away? I know the NBA was a huge thing that blew my mind.
Well, so for me, there's two things. So on the Dr. Doug side of things, I'm seeing a lot of what people. I think we took virtual work for granted a little bit. And I've had the opportunity to be able to see some of the professors that were really big on this whole virtual workspace over the last almost 10 years. And they've been telling us that virtual work and social media and all these interactions are real. And so now a lot of the places that have decided to play, to stay in their comfort zone, have absolutely no choice but to engage in this virtual world. And the reality is that the interactions that you have can be completely authentic. They don't feel the same as looking at someone dead in their face and shaking their hand, which you shouldn't be doing, social distancing, y'all. But it's very real, and it's gonna be something that we have to be used to for a while. Which brings me to another thing that I thought was really interesting, is that a lot of businesses are either trying to find out where their pivot is, or they're trying to do some of the things that they were asked to do, like earlier in the game. They were like, not a big deal right now, right?
What does that? What does that? And I like what Edward said. You said a few things I like that. But bro, what does that look like? If you decide right now, okay, I want to do it, make a shift. I want to, okay, I should have been going mobile. Like, what can you, for a regular business, let's say maybe not the biggest business, maybe medium sized solopreneur, maybe solopreneur, maybe it's easier for a solopreneur. What if you wanted to just make the shift right now? How realistic is that?
I mean, it's pretty realistic, and I didn't realize how realistic it was until this situation happened. I'm going to talk about the Houston Coronavirus Resources app later on, but we basically put out an app in 2 days.
Right.
So I mean, it's not too late. But I like what you said earlier, talking about those missed opportunities from before. I've been pitching church apps to churches for the past 2 years, like really hard. Yep. I've been trying to get these churches on the mobile app platform, and it would be perfect for this opportunity right now. Yep. Because everybody's at home, everybody's trying to live stream the services, everybody's trying to give. Like if you have that app, you can send out those notifications to your members. So it's kind of frustrating on my end, because I've been saying for 2 years, hey, I need an app, I need an app, I need an app. And then it's like, hey, y'all really need an app right now. So
it's think about it, right? So isn't so you segued right into a perfect place where we're talking about the nature of the pivot, and one of our clients actually pivoted into a place where she could provide space for churches on on the Roku, I think on a Roku and an Apple platforms. Church Space is providing a space for churches to actually be able to have their own channel, and she had to pivot because her software as a service was supposed to get businesses and churches into the empty space in larger in church venues. That's obviously not viable for unfortunately we don't know how long. And she had the opportunity to be able to pivot and provide that space. And so where we've been saying, hey, churches, you really need to get this app real quick, there was a gap there. But then we also have the opportunity that you see that fortunately, one of our clients is having the opportunity to be able to get their hands on. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I think when we were talking about it initially, I called it the I told you so's, where we were like, we want some of our clients to so badly take the opportunities that are in front of them, but they're concerned because of risk, which is some of the stuff we talked about in another podcast episode, where it's like, okay, is it worth the money? Am I gonna do this? Should I take this leap? And sometimes it doesn't feel viable, but a lot of stuff really feels viable today, doesn't it? It's kind of crazy.
It's also conceptualizing that need. So we can explain all that stuff. This is what could happen. This is what it will look like. And it's all academic at that point. It's educational, but they haven't seen it. You haven't lived through it. You haven't been able to be in a situation where you're actually dependent on your virtual system, dependent on your app, dependent on all these other things that were only theories before. Now it's reality. So I feel like your mindset of the world has been accelerated now, which is another reason. I know we're going to get to it. I'm interested to see what the world looks like coming out of this. What industries change? What adjusts? What mindset changes? Or do you just go back to the norm? You never know with human beings.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a big mindset shift. One of the things that I think is going to happen, that I think there's going to be a lot of new startups and new entrepreneurs and new people wanting to take that leap. After seeing how at any second their jobs could be, on the line. So I think there's going to be an urge for people to try to produce something that can sustain themselves on the long-term side, outside of their 9 to 5. I'm not saying there's going to be people quitting jobs left and right, but I'm saying it's going to get that mindset working. And hopefully we'll have a lot of new entrepreneurs come out of this situation.
Yeah, people actually acting on those ideas, and that, Doug, I'm sure you're ready to get into it. That's one of the things that DeckLaunch has been working on, preparing for that, I guess, surge of people, I guess, going from the idea phase to let me poke around and see how viable this may be, or going from I'm not even thinking about anything to now I'm generating ideas, which of course DeckLaunch can help you at any point in that process.
Yeah, so I guess this is probably a good time for us to talk about just some of the stuff that we're really trying to do. So the biggest thing that I really want to make sure that we're sharing is, like, this isn't a shameless plug for businesses or for our business in general. One of the things that we're very big on is being able to provide resources to the community to the best of our ability. And so I think the best place to start is with the coronavirus app. Rel, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we heard our president talk about he's going to have some super app developed by Google. Then we heard Google come back and say that they're just doing a website, and they kind of got us thinking, hey, there's all these national resources going around and these global resources, but we're in Houston, so let's make something for Houston. So we actually created a progressive web app, and it's called the Houston Coronavirus Resources. And so, like I said, we got this thing up pretty quickly. The hardest part right now is trying to keep the data up to date and accurate, because we want all of the data going out on that thing to be, accurate. And so it's it's a lot of things you can do on there. We have, some coronavirus podcasts on there. We have testing location information, health resources, business resources. We got the information for that SBA loan that they're trying to run out. So it's just a general place for you Stonians to get that information, because there's a lot of stuff out there. And I just want to centralize something for the community.
Yeah, and some of the key things that you just mentioned there, the testing locations. So these are things that are changing like instantly, and those are things that are being developed. And I mean, for me, that was what I was looking for. So this app, the way this app got developed is because we needed it. We put things up there that we needed, which it turns out to be what everybody else needed. Because I didn't know what was going on around me in Harris County. I mean, Harris County is ginormous, but I wanted to know what was happening around me because we're in our house. And the only way we know what's going on out there is virtually, but we turn on CNN and not really talking about my neighborhood or around me. So we needed something that was more localized, and that's where this came from. So there's a map on there that's interactive that tells you it's tracking the cases, and then that testing location I think is also huge, as well as what you talked about with the SBA loan.
And I think the coolest part of this, bringing it back to these businesses, because we're gonna have business owners that hopefully watch this and they're like, well, I'm panicking and what can I do and what is the solution? And one of the things that really came from this is that we proved to ourselves that it's possible to get a minimum viable product out really, really quickly. We were in a global accelerator around about 6 or 7 months ago, and they had someone talk about getting a minimum viable product out in 24 hours, and we kind of laughed at it because the process that the person went through didn't seem really viable. But here we were, as everything happened with the pandemic starting to rise, and we realized that there was a need for our community for something. And here we go, and we're able to put something together in 2 days. And so one of the cool things that we've learned from our process is that your business can be on the web, responsive, ready for new clients pretty quickly. It is a very viable thing. It's just that we have to commit to this new reality pretty much.
Definitely. And to find that app, that web app, it's not an app on the app stores yet. It's a progressive web app. Just go to coronavirus.freshtechsolutions.com. That's coronavirus.freshtechsolutions with a Z.com. So what else are we? Let's talk about some of the positive responses that we've seen.
Well, you just mentioned a couple of them, but some of the things that I've to say that I've been proud of is, and God, I hate to big up 45, but the one thing that I will say that I think probably the only thing he did, and I don't know if he's the one who did this, but getting out with those CEOs of Walmart and Target and all these people who are actually producing things kind of reassure people. I know, and again, everything I'm speaking from experience, because you got kids where if you're in the house, the same fear is there, even though it was kind of tempered. This one was weird. This whole thing has been weird, but you know how much it can devolve. And we saw it with the stores, like, hey, maybe the virus won't kill me, but not having food in the stores is definitely going to be a problem with kids not being able to get the necessity. So kind of quelling that and reducing that, like, hey, look, we're going to keep producing. All the CEOs, when you see the CEOs of these companies getting down there reassuring you, letting them know, hey, things are still going to be in the market, but this is what I need. This is what we need you guys to do. Don't shop like it's the end of the world. We're going to keep bringing stuff, increasing production. This is what we're doing, this, and this, and this. So that I thought was a very good response. It showed unity there. It showed some leadership, and it helped change the way it was. Because now you can go to the stores and you will get some things. There's some restrictions. They've made some changes, which, this country is so huge and it's so progressive, but it's also so stagnant and slow. Like a lot of things that should have been updated, it should be like if you go and you see the plexiglass between you and the cashier, like, okay, yeah, coronavirus, but there've been mad other viruses, and we've never ever thought about maybe we should limit the spread of germs. You know what I'm saying? But most of those things have already changed, and it's been so impressive to see people actually putting resources towards responding so quickly.
So Doc, what can we do, and how can we help the other entrepreneurs out there who are trying to get through these times? Like how can we help them?
Well, a lot of it right now at the beginning is probably just really trying to get some good QT in with regards to masterminding and brainstorming, because right now people have been punched in the face. Your business has been punched in the mouth. You don't know if you're supposed to be open. If you are open, there's specific guidelines that you got to try to figure out, because sometimes it's not really clear on the internet or over the TV or on the social media, where people are telling you one thing when in reality it's a completely different concept. So what we hope we'll be able to do with you on the deck launch side of things is, for existing businesses, we're gonna figure out how we could either Facebook Live and just do some Q&As throughout the week until this thing turns around. Just things like that where we can ask questions as a community, because we need that stuff. If you just want to type out some questions, you can always go and join our Fresh Tech Tipz group too. But we want to be able to just help people to the best of our ability, and these brainstorming sessions actually work. So shout out to one of our clients, Philip Yates, who has a business client of his own who we helped pivot into a new business model literally today. I think it was one of the last things I posted before we started this. The other thing is really trying to get people's plans get people planning really quickly. So you got to get. So right now, this is going to be the environment where you're not going to write a 30-page business plan and figure something out. You ain't got that time no more. You have time to work on the idea, but ultimately, if you really want to get things popping, you want to get the big details out and running, because when the curtain raises on this thing, there's going to be a race for a lot of opportunity, even though it doesn't really seem like it. So hopefully we're trying to get you organized as well. So we're right now in the process of working on a couple of different products that we're going to be able to share. Basically, business plan briefs and a couple of other different things that I'm in the process of working on, and hopefully I'll be able to share at the beginning of next week. And speaking of the beginning of next week, we're definitely going to be doing pitch competitions, because you guys have ideas. Everybody has ideas. You're sitting, you're playing, you're taking a lot less time to stress at your cubicle. You've had time to sit and think. We want to be able to give you the opportunity to be able to, share your ideas with the greater community through pitching. We're going to be doing pitch competitions on social media for elevator pitches. We're going to be doing formal pitch competitions, hopefully on Zoom. We're going to be doing a whole lot of stuff, because in all of these events, by the way, are free 99, and the winners will get something pretty sweet from Deck Launch. Trust me. So because we really ultimately want to see the community still grow. We know that things seem really, really bleak right now, but we know that it's going to get better. And when it gets better, we want you to be at the head, at the front of your game, rather than freaking out as soon as opportunity presents itself.
No, definitely, man. And it's I'm glad you said that about these entrepreneurs. It's going to be some businesses that are going to get closed after this. I mean, let's just be real. It's some of these businesses and some of these entrepreneurs, they can't sustain a hit like this. Completely being closed for weeks. It's just not sustainable. But like I said, on the other side, this is kind of where you see those true colors. You see those true entrepreneurs who are really in it for the long run. You see how they adjust, because entrepreneurship is all about adjusting and adapting to situations. So this is kind of how you prove your entrepreneurship. This is the time to do so. This is the time where these big, huge companies are made and these billionaires are made. It's at these times. So yeah. I know we're going through it right now, but look, man, This is a crazy time right now.
Everybody, and another thing I want to add to that is that everybody is doing it. So those CEOs that I'm talking about, every industry, every company, no matter what size, is doing the same thing. Now they might have a whole brain trust and people who they can give that task to, but they're doing the same thing. So what you need to do right now is after you hopefully you calm down a little bit, your personal mental is okay now. Now you can think about your business, reevaluate like what's going on, what's been impacted, and then that from there you can build up a strategy of, okay, how do I go forward? Whether I can pivot right now as is, or if there's nothing I can do right now, then preparing for the next thing whenever this does subside. You know, what strategy am I going to have, which is going to inform your program, which is going to inform what projects you're going to prioritize, because resources are always going to be limited. So you're going to have to pick, okay, whenever I get going, if these are the things, these are the projects that I need to do, is how they need to be laid out, and then they can sync up to each other. That's how you you use this time, because the world is at a standstill right now. This is a huge opportunity that everybody is held back. So once this gets going, wherever you were before, you could be way ahead, you know, from your last position. So it means it's a good opportunity, even though it's dire situations.
Yeah, some networking company is gonna take all my money because I'm going to all the events when this is over. I'm doing everything here. Right. Take all of the money. I want to go. So y'all, you know, you need to think about like you said, what's happening at the end of this, you know, because there's gonna be people like me who are gonna try to be everywhere because I'm just networking with y'all beautiful people, and it's like, where am I going? Like it's gonna be a fight to see which networking event is going to be the most lit.
Yeah, you talk about there's going to be a battle for attention, a battle for our time, because now that we've all been frozen in time, so to speak, kind of. Once things get going, there's going to be a huge battle for time and attention. It's going to be all the way from like things like as huge as the Olympics. That's a monster that's going to take people's time. There's a lot of things going out of it. So like around us, big events that were canceled, the OTC conference, South by Southwest. There are other festivals, which all these things have a lot of things that affect you. Like you think about South by Southwest, you think, oh, it's a music festival, but that's not true. It's a huge business festival. There's technology, there's arts. So you need to
a lot of money on South by Southwest.
Yeah. But you need to just imagine that once this gets going, it's going to be going fast. So where do you fit in?
You know, and the best way to think about it is kind of if you think about what's happened over the last about 48 hours with D-Nice blowing it out the water with these parties, right? And so if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, right now on the internet, D-Nice has really saturated this crazy niche for Instagram parties, and he could probably, if he so chose to, just run Instagram parties until he falls out and until we can go back to the club. Does that make every other DJ in the world irrelevant because D-Nice is really running things right now and he's getting 100,000? And then probably if you're like still a super DJ, I watched Diamond D and DJ Premier as well. They were getting about 1,000 when, you know, D-Nice is getting 100,000. This is the reality is right now in this moment, it feels like, you know, the first movers and the superstars are going to take a whole bunch of stuff, but you got to remember that the market is still going to be there. So, So don't get discouraged just because of what things look like right now. There are going to be people with resources that are going to take early, but you still have the skills and abilities that you had to make sure that your business was relevant to begin with. All of the DJs that have been awesome over the last 20 years that aren't necessarily D-Nice are going to kick behind as soon as they can. All of this will get better. Just don't quit. Keep fighting.
I agree with that. I think I've seen a lot of DJs also, you know, backdoor on that. It's pretty much a new industry or a shift in that industry now. So you can't just be like, oh man, he came up to that idea and you just quit. You have to know that eventually you will get your own piece. So still go into it.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I know we got a lot of work to do. I just wanted to to thank you guys for joining. Thanks all of our Fresh Tech Tipz listeners for tuning in to our first virtual Fresh Tech Tipz episode. We will be back next Monday, same time, same place, unless there's a cure. Then we'll be back in the studio on our regular platforms. But join our Facebook group, Fresh Tech Tipz. That's Tips with a Z. We look forward to seeing all of y'all soon, hopefully sooner than later. And thank y'all for joining Fresh Tech Tipz. And y'all stay safe out there and stay sanitized.
Stay sanitized.